Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is our continuation to season 2 of Star Trek Intelligence. Look at that. We're early this time. Wonder how we'll fuck it up this time. But all that aside, before we start our game, of course, as usual, any type of plugs or promotions that have to get done around this metaphysical table, we shall do so.
Hi, I'm Slay. Twitter at Sons of Warvan. I have a couple things that I'm working on, but we'll see if they'll ever see the light of day. So I'm pulling a Bonnie here. Apparently, that's me.
Hi, I'm Little Legend. You know me, I'm unforgettable. I run an art blog on Tumblr, which is Little Legend Arts. I would love to see you there. I'm posting art much more frequently. I am honing my skill, and I really hope to get your support because that support might really get me through.
Sorry. That's my headphones. Yeah, let me introduce you to those bitches. Anyway, but yeah, your support might get me into art school. So
Uh oh. Uh, Lil, you sound a little distant.
I think we
Oh,
lost her.
oh, of course I do. Fuck me, am I right?
Oh,
Little fell
it's not
down
a
the
stream
well.
if there's not technical
Yeah,
difficulties.
this is
Welcome to being live on the internet. We got
this is our
this.
hubris for starting early. See, that's what happened.
Well, that was
Yeah,
your
but why
fault,
am
Joe.
I
You're the one that didn't
supposed?
tell us when we start.
I
Yeah, but why am I suffering for you all? I'm like, I came in the latest.
okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so I do believe we still caught it though. You just sounded a little distant. Uh, I think that leaves Silver, right?
Oh, yeah, hi. I'm totally not drawing as we're speaking. I'm having one of those days. But yeah, hi there. I am Silver Sugar, aka Risa. You can find me most places on the internet as Silver Sugar or X Silver Sugar. And I am an artist, a TTRPG performer, and just an all around nerd. I'm slowly but surely getting myself back up to where I can stream. I really want to get back into, uh, especially doing Pokemon stuff again, but we're getting there. So I'm hoping that if I don't have the nerve to go live immediately following this, then tomorrow. This I'm saying it, so I do it. But yeah,
imagine
that's all I
being
got for
not
now.
be, imagine being not emotionally exhausted from everything that this going to DM person puts us through to go streaming right after.
Yeah, I really I might be. We'll see, but I also just really want to do more because
Honestly, we all
I
root for you. You are the strongest of us all.
Okay.
lies.
Um, of course, continuing our little foray to get to our goal for the lower decks 2 shot, of course, if you are watching and have not followed us here on Twitch, especially if you're watching the recorded VOD on YouTube, give us a follow. We'd really appreciate it, and then we'll get our lower decks 2 shot. In addition to that,
And
I
yet
have
again, I'm begging you.
um
Big same.
Uh, in addition to that, in our Rune and Relic Twitch Discord server, I've put out our player application for our Animaximum streamed game, which will be a Kids on Bikes game. If that is something that you are interested in, give the application a look. I do believe I limited it to 4 players this time, a smaller group. But it is it's not a long thing. I think it's 6 episodes long. But anyways, if that is something you're interested, please go and take a look at that. I believe that will probably the goal will be to stream it on Wednesdays, would be my guess. Aside from that, once as well as our final arc going into it, we'll have a guest player. And hopefully, it'll all work out. Scheduling and stuff like that, and maybe, just maybe I can get one of the old ones back. We'll see.
Ooh.
But with all that said and done, I do believe we have to do some more mind diving this episode. So we will be right back. There we go. Okay. Welcome back. I may have
Totally
pressed the
not
wrong
ominous.
button. But you know, it's fine. We're all back. Also, my players have reminded me because I have the brain capacity of Swiss cheese. The next 2 weeks, the next 2 Saturdays, there will not be a continuation of the season, and we will resume in September. One, because the last Saturday of the month is just that's our break day, my break day, because I'm insane and have no. Don't at me. And the other one just because I have some obligations I gotta take care of because I forgot about them. But the thing we'll do in September probably is we'll probably just be going. We'll just keep going for those last 5 episodes. So there won't be a break in between. It'll just go. All that aside, jumping into the game, of course, with the slight drizzling of rain that has somewhat cast overhead, Lieutenant Loris, you have a very rough predicament ahead of you. You have some sort of perpetrator with a dead man switch charge, as well as they have grabbed your wrist in which you cannot immediately get away. However, you do have a phaser at the ready pointed at them. This is a civilian block. There aren't a ton of, civilians, but there are enough to warrant concern. And because of this is technically sort of a city space, there's always going to be passerbys. You have an interesting dilemma in which you definitely can neutralize them through stun or however you feel. It really comes down to how fast you can do this if you choose to do something a little intense.
Ooh. just so you know, for all the viewers who are curious, I've been reading about police de-escalation the entire goddamn because a
Yep.
kind of sort of police officer has to know that shit. And the only thing that's written on the internet, and I kid you not, the only thing is talk to them. If not work, shoot them. So, I don't have much of a choice. So, but considering that Mira would not want any accidents, and she does need information because she is like basically chasing a mental worm, trying to understand like where is this entire group of people who are threatening her friend located. This is basically her only lead right now, correct?
Yes. From what you can ascertain, this is an escaped convict of sorts. However, there is definitely a threat that there could be more, but you don't have any assurance one way or the other.
All right. One last question. I need to know the complexion of the person that I'm like in a standoff with.
Complexion how? Just like
Is he?
Are they?
Yeah, in terms of like how muscular, how thin.
They're not super muscular, but they're not thin. They're definitely athletic, but they're probably more medium build and definitely more for. They're probably more suited for a sprint than a jog.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got you. So, firstly, we're gonna try and negotiate out of this, and then we'll see. So, wait, one last question.
Yes.
This group, they still do care about the other symbiotes and other like people, or do they just like want to erase all of them?
It's not necessarily an erasure of any kind. It's more of there is the potential. It is these parasitic symbiotes are more like they function a lot more like a cult probably than they do. So, and that mindset is very very dangerous.
Yeah, I get it. All right. So what Mila is gonna do is she's gonna lean in a little bit so people would not get, agitated around them, and she's gonna say something like this. All right, I see your point, but I would like you to see mine. You see this? And she kind of twirls her eye around in her socket. The one that she has with her robotic eye.
Yep.
I am actually a robot, just so you know. And if you blow this entire place up, sure, you're gonna kill yourself, destroy every single person around us. But I will stay alive. And I will find your entire gang. Regardless. So how about you put that thing down? And maybe I'll be a little bit less enraged when that happens.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So this. Ooh. All right.
That's a bluff. That's a bluff.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
What a swig, Lil. Go for it. Good job. I am proud of you.
This is gonna be a presence command roll.
Yeah, let me just.
And it is going to be a difficulty of 2, and I am going to spend a threat immediately as well.
Oof. I'm literally shaken. Honestly, I was trying to de-escalate, but it somehow turned into a threat. I have no idea why.
Just to clarify, that threat spend is to increase the complication range to 19, right?
Correct.
All right.
Cool.
Do you have anything on your sheet that might be able to help, like focus or value?
Or talent.
All my focuses are in medicine. I was trying to put all of that in. Blah blah blah. Yeah, basically everything I have is
Look really
medical.
quick.
But I mean, she did twirl her eye like in a very robotic way.
Honestly,
Yes.
if you want to burn a value, I could see sometimes it's better to punch first could work as well. I definitely could see that.
Right. Let's do that.
So that's an auto 2 successes.
Yep. So basically you get out of having to worry about rolling anything.
I mean, does she still have to roll? Do they still have to roll?
Well, it's 2 successes. You can still roll if you want. Here's the thing: if you roll, you can still get the complications. But if you roll, you also could potentially get momentum as well. So.
Okay. I'm gonna burn the value now, and I'm going to save my rolls for later because I do believe in wasting luck on rolls.
No,
so I'm gonna save that for later.
Okay. No, that's fair. I do too. But I've been a player where I've wasted luck and my sessions go left. You
see my point. You know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I roll something good now, later I will be, I don't know, absolutely fucked up, and I know it.
Okay, they do kind of back down here. However, you do still face the problem that this dead man switch charge is activated still. But they are willing to pacify themselves a little bit, but that dead man switch is their negotiating tool. They're not going to just give it up. So you have a little bit of sway now, but you don't have a ton of it.
Okay, we're gonna have to tiptoe here and try to avoid threatening them again. Alright. I have nothing. I don't know what I can tell him. Mira kind of glances at the dead man's switch, and like, how about you lower your finger and we can calmly discuss the situation.
I think if I keep this here, though, this guarantees you have to talk about this calmly, so I think I'll just hold on to it.
Yeah, but just lower your hand. You do realize the entire street can see what is there.
Fine. Lower my hand. I'm keeping this, though.
Sure. I hope you don't mind me keeping my weapon as well. And she kind of like pulls her own hand back, just to hide her weapon. So
what now? I have to go deal with a traitor. You clearly don't want me to. So we're still at an impasse here.
Here's my question, actually. You are going to deal with the traitor who basically never spends time on this planet. What's the point if he's just gonna finish whatever business he has here and then leave?
It's more of a It's an ingrained principle.
So basically, you're willing to risk your own life for the sake of just, ending a random character who you never saw and will never see again, which will send literally no message to anybody but, I imagine you guessed, Starfleet, who will descend onto this planet like an entire meteor. You do realize the implications here, right?
Oh, that's actually a fascinating angle because. Oh my god, you just trapped him.
Let's go, little.
So, stepping out of the game here, Lieutenant Lois has no concept of understanding what she's said. But if we remember last episode, and learning a little bit about Admiral Hill and her personal history, Starfleet did nothing initially about a very isolated problem, and left it mostly up to Trill to deal with. However, after such an event, there is no way that she is going to let such an event happen again. And every popular parasite that has been put away should definitely know that at this point. So, wow, you fucking just stymied him out of nowhere. Okay.
And then you throw Jaloran on top of that, and you got the combined might of Jaloran and Mahil.
I mean, Jaloran is currently with Tate, meaning that both of them will be kind of, killed if this happens. So I think that
But
if we tell a practically religious
this guy doesn't know that.
yes,
Well,
but
yeah,
like
he doesn't.
Oh,
He doesn't know that for certain for Jaloran. Plus, he also doesn't know about Jaloran's connection to Chakotay.
yeah.
There's okay.
I can just say high rank officer is like, I'm gonna figure this out.
I mean, also, there's no way that Starfleet's gonna let it go that if this person's talking about killing Hone and killing Tate, then there's no way they're gonna let it
by
go.
extension, Jaloran, which
Yeah.
there's no way he knows that, but those are fairly high up on the rung of a ranking ladder,
Yeah.
and that grabs a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no.
Mhm.
Yeah, so damn, little, you just got Joe. Jesus.
And this character
Oh,
in
shit.
particular is now in Checkmate.
Yeah.
Rip.
Well, that is absolutely unfortunate. Seems I've done everything for. Well, nothing apparently.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't say that many Starfleets are very vengeful, but we do have that justice boner that will happily seek out every single one of your little rebellious group. And well, I guess that what might happen. I suggest you hold off your comrades or whatever you call each other until we leave. And then I might avoid telling the high-ranking officers what could have happened here. How about this?
They reach their hand up, but slowly, and fiddle with the device they have, and you do hear it power down. They slowly let go, and there is a long, drawn out few moments where you're not sure if this thing is just going to detonate or not. You seemed like you were going to be entertaining, but you were beyond boring and very unfun.
Oh no! A cultist thinks that I am not fun. What am I to do with myself? Now get.
I may be leaving, but I am doing this as a favor, which means
Yeah, sure, you have the moral high ground, whatever. Come on, dude, do you really want to continue this conversation?
they don't know how to respond to someone so abrasive at this point. I think they're just gonna. They are still an escaped convict, but they are going to leave their initial plan B because it's not gonna happen.
This guy so wants to have the last word, and Beerus does not let him.
Yep, he's just gonna leave. he doesn't have any choice. Which he actually doesn't get very far because what equates for like this city's Trill law enforcement will eventually catch him. He's one person in a fairly large city.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, not
Mira
not
was
me.
right. Other people totally saw what he was doing and were like, I should call this in.
Yeah, exactly. She was trying not to cause too much panic, but also like everybody saw him holding a goddamn exploding device, and nobody's gonna nobody's gonna let a suicide bomber like walk around the freaking city just like that.
No, essentially what you have done. Well, so we have a perspective of the grand scale of things. If the complications or any rolls had happened and a complication had happened, the chance of the dead man switch would have gone exponentially. The amount of people that would have happened, it would not have been a large casualty list, but it would have been about 7 people, and that still is a lot considering the circumstances.
One is too many.
And in addition to that, there was a chance you would probably be in close proximity, would have taken a lot of stress damage to yourself. However, you have avoided that. And
Yeah, close proximity. I'm sorry, I was nose to nose with him. Just a reminder, I was nose to nose with him.
Yeah,
practically.
the stress would have been. It would have been. The chance of you getting out of that without full lethality was slim, but it was there. However, moving off from that scene as Lieutenant Loris has managed to deal with whatever weird little debacle that is. Out further, in the Alpha Quadrant, on a old Cardassian station, Kavai, you... Deep Space Nine is actually... Its historic importance is one thing, but it's like... It is a cultural magnet. There are so many different species here, so many different trades and things, and the stuff you came out here to do is pretty much done. Is there anything, like, that Kavai wants to do that's more extracurricular, or...
Yeah, they've taken the advice from their therapist to set up an appointment with a specialist.
Okay.
And I believe that you would find them pacing around the medical bay, just very, very does not want to be here, and is still fighting that, like, I should just bolt, cancel the appointment, fuck it.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking for out of this specialist, like, particularly?
They are hoping to get a little bit more of an idea on what their parents did. They're definitely taking a huge inspiration of, well, Tate's figuring out their shit, maybe I should get on their level.
Okay.
And it's a case of I can't be there for my friend physically because of my own issues. So we're fixing this. I can't take it anymore, kind of thing.
Okay. You were actually in luck, as they are wearing sort of the newer uniforms, sort of that medical like teal greenish color. The ranking pips of a commander, and you have never met them personally, I believe. I believe only Lieutenant Loris has at this point. But Deep Space Nine does occasionally still see visits from one Dr. Julian Bashir.
Yeah, Kavai would have had no idea they live in, like, such an extreme, like, medical phobia that, like, that's out of their wheelhouse.
Okay. Before you can even think of, like, just last minute, like, yep, I can leave this appointment, the doors do kind of open up. And Dr. Bashir does enter and takes note of you, because Deep Space Nine it's got stuff for medical and such, but usually the common fare for Deep Space Nine medical is for minor stuff, so this is a little out
Yeah,
of the
this is
norm.
definitely like a port of convenience.
Well,
And I think Kavai would even, like, open up with, oh, you did show, okay. Really sorry to have called you away from your ordinary business, but thank you for seeing me.
well, your case is certainly different, and I find it intriguing. Similar to my own in certain aspects.
I think, like, that raises her eyebrow, because, like, maybe she didn't, like, fully, like, I feel like Kavai went into this, like, not realizing why she would have gotten this recommendation, and I think that's, like, immediately, like, calms their nerves. It's just like, oh, okay. Safe company who gets it.
So, what are you looking to accomplish through this appointment?
I think they'll follow in and kind of hem and haw for a little bit before finally saying, like, just, well, I maybe it's better if I show you. My my Vulcan heritage kind of screwed me a little bit. With my Orion side, I can't touch people without, and they will offer their hand out.
You can't regulate your own emotions and they affect others.
Yes, but they, like, get very flustered. Like, it's something they don't have the bandwidth to talk about.
Alright. Now they'll gently kind of like put the hand on top of yours to kind of get a better understanding.
And the doctor will get a little bit more than that normal static that people get. As Kavai is trying to let down part of the wall.
Okay.
And it gets across the point that people have been trying to drill into her for so long is that she always thought she didn't have a wall, but the truth is that she's always had one. It's just there's so much behind it now that it's too much.
Yeah. Okay.
And they'll pull their hand away before she feels like it would cause any harm or leak anything that she's not comfortable with. So I just want that to stop. But also, I've become recently aware that having to hold all of that in could cause other health issues. And, well, you've got my file.
Yeah, I actually have your file and those you are assigned and closely connected to. Like doing my research.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like what you're dealing with, at least for initial observations, is you are doing a very rudimentary form of almost, forgive the very crude term, but a back alley version of Kolinar, which is an interesting choice, but
Yeah, I never really got on well with my Vulcan teachers. Bit too green for their taste. And none of that was anything I wanted to go in on. So, but I can't. This isn't working.
well, a treatment I could suggest is taking certain parts of proper Vulcan exercise. Understand that that's, as you've said, it's not exactly something you're the most practiced in, but that would help. Regulating, rather allowing it to be more of a light streaming as opposed to a full wall. You don't have a dam active in terms of using metaphors, of course. You don't have a dam active. What you have is a wall.
They nod.
The Vulcan practice of Kolinar does allow for that, and well, it does allow for emotional suppression. That is exactly what it is. It is suppression. It is not total blockage.
I think Kavai has definitely consumed so much like Earth media that the idea of that is just so like they're proud of the fact that they feel and feel so intensely. And I think should say the idea of trying to hide or cut off any of that just it doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just that my Orion side is coming through a bit more because it's so much of that side of my culture says to embrace your feelings. So I don't know. I'm hesitant to ask for a medical solution when I know that there are other options. I just
Well, if you prefer, I could offer a solution that's not a medical solution, and rather a societal one.
they like hard bite like any sort of like knee-jerk reaction to like scoff, but they will hear it out anyway.
Well, it is commonly known that a vast majority of Vulcans undergo the process of emotional suppression. It's also worth noting that plenty of them do not. In fact, a fair amount don't, as high as 31%.
You get that moment, like, where, you know, when you see someone who's, like, been told, like, that basically their whole life has been a lie?
Yeah.
It's that exact expression, and then he'd probably pick up on this, like, intense feeling of, like, oh, I'm gonna kill someone, and, like, I think under her breath there's just this string of, like, Vulcan curses directed at her old man. Like, I knew he was fucking... I'm so mad. Alright. Okay. Huh. Sorry.
To be perfectly honest, I think you're handling it a little better than I did when I found out about my own case.
Like, I think she's, like, full head in hands, like, I knew my parents were shit, but, like, I didn't think they were lying about everything.
To be perfectly fair, to them it would not, depending on how you feel. It kind of feels like the not is kind of where you're leaning, but to be perfectly fair, it's entirely not surprising that you haven't heard it. Most of Vulcan generally keeps that information out because Vulcan history is, the further you go back, the more delicate and the more touchy the subject is.
I think you get, like, that look on her face where she's just like, you could practically, like, not that, instead of it being, like, the math gif of just, like, all the equations, it's, like, history textbooks of just, like, okay, this line is starting to make sense now, this bit's starting to make sense, I skipped that chapter, but I bet there was something here, oh, yeah, no, all of this is making sense. And then there's, like, momentary, like, wave of just, like, oh, I'm really fucking dumb and, like, embarrassed. But then there's, like, no, my parents were deliberate with what they wanted me to learn. I get it now. Shit. Okay, yeah, they, manipulative bastards. Okay. Thank you. Wow. Lot to think about.
It's... our cases are usually niche ones, but they do bring out a lot of struggles, I'll say. There's a couple on the station that have gone through similar.
Oh. Oh. You know, it's... seems to be a lot more common than I think a lot of people want to admit.
That's probably true. I haven't met a whole bunch, but it's entirely possible.
I think I's just, like, counting all the people she knows at this point.
Well, you know, odd little glass house, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me think.
It's almost like we come in packs.
Dr. Bashir kind of thinks for a second and goes over to a pad and starts typing some things in, and then hands it off to you. These would be. They are not popularly picked in terms of Vulcan history or the Orion arts. They are two very separate things, and they're the polar opposite of what each society is kind of like shown. Kind of the Vulcan history of being like, not all of them really went under that process, and some actively choosing to embrace that feeling. And also that history that kind of imparts why they went that way. And then there's the Orion half of it, which is like the arts and like expression, but there can also be expression through being reserved. So less flashy displays of art and expression, and just more, I guess, grounded in a way.
Basically, everything her parents did not want her to have access to because it wouldn't fit their plans.
Yep. Unfortunately, I don't have any form of a continual treatment, as each one of our cases is very specific and niche. But I find a little perspective helps.
I think Kai's like already like going through. Yeah, actually, I think perspective is everything. Thank you for this. I think if I would like definitely make like plans to keep in contact with further options, and for as much as this has been everything that they don't like getting into, I think they're able to find some more options that like work.
Okay.
Or at least toward the right path.
Well, I don't have anything else, but if you have any questions, otherwise, I think this appointment can be concluded. And also, I did tell Colonel Kira I wasn't going to be late to our meeting, but she'll forgive me probably.
Yeah, I hear good things about the boss here. Sorry to keep you. Thank you. And
I'm a doctor, it's my duty.
I think Kavai will make their way out. Probably a little bit. I'm trying to think of the word. Not in like totally high spirits, definitely like deep in thought, but very much with they have a better idea of why things are the way they are, and I think they're going to shoot a message back towards home, letting the rest of everybody know that they're heading back, and basically it's just like the equivalent of like her tone would come across as not the usual upbeat, but definitely nothing to worry about. And at the end, it basically boils down to who wants gift shop shit.
You do get a perhaps an interesting and hilarious notification that comes across the station intercom. Is the only Starfleet vessel that was going to the Sol system, the USS Truance, has already departed.
Well, piss. This is fine. I can arrange other transport. This is totally fine. I'm not worried. Kavia's definitely missed flights before.
Yeah. And ended up in ones you're not supposed to be in.
Oh, yeah, well.
Totally didn't benefit from that.
Is there any particular way you're going to look for transportation? Because you don't have a ton of time, but you do have some.
I think they'll just, like, probably head back to... I can't remember what, like, the main hallway is. Like, there's, like, a...
The promenade?
The promenade?
Yeah, thank you. I think they'll head back to the promenade because there's, like, a lot of people coming and going. And, easiest way to arrange any sort of, like, trade for travel type thing.
Yeah, the,
Definitely lots of souvenir shops on the promenade.
Hell yeah!
Tons, yeah.
I mostly just waiting for messages back, and, like, she stops at, like, every little... Any place that she can get, like, candy or treats, any good stuff like that, too.
Yeah, you eventually do, it's an interesting... You do, like, see kind of out the window of the promenade. There is a retired Starfleet vessel that is out there. It is it would fall under the Raven type. And it is docked.
What would I know about that type of ship from, like, Tate?
You'd know probably a little too much, honestly. The Raven type is technically, while it is affiliated with Starfleet, it falls more under the lines of Federation. And what that essentially means is it's a lot more open to how it's used and such, and it's not uncommon for them to be used for, especially decommissioned one, for civilian uses. Civilians typically will use them as their own personal base of operations, trade ships, or even home, because they're fairly large. They have 3 decks to them, a holodeck and a shuttle bay. They're fairly large. And they can be operated with as small of a crew as 1.
Okay.
On top of that, as opposed to, like, the runabouts that may be around here, these can achieve, these days, if provided the person has done the correct upgrades, can achieve up to warp 8.5.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
9 if warp 9 if you really want to be unsafe about it.
We're not repeating threshold.
Yeah, I don't need to go that fast. I think I'll try to poke around and find out who owns the vessel, I guess.
Okay. Easy enough. Because though you are not someone who actively drinks, Quarks is probably the best place to look for that. And
yeah. Hey, your lights are on. Whoever.
yeah, that's yeah, key fob noise. There is eventually you will track down the person, which is civilian. She's not super tall. Probably 5'6", 5'7". Human, though. Her choice of attire is very paralegal in a sense.
Okay.
And,
So rather stiff.
and a lot of people do not want to interact with her at all.
Interesting. Kavai is very torn on how to approach. On one hand, from the way she sees other people behaving around this individual, it makes her want to lean in more towards how they're acting. But God, the little shit disturber in her is going nuts. Yeah, I think she fights that like hardcore and will approach very, very politely. Hello, excuse me.
You're not gonna try and sell me something, are you?
No, God, no.
Thank gods.
Yeah, I heard that, instead of selling, I'm actually hoping to, more or less purchase. If you're heading out anytime soon, I believe that's your vessel, and I'll hook a thumb over.
That would be.
I'm, hoping to get, passage back toward Earth if you're headed that way.
I will be shortly, in a day or so.
Does that, like, fit into my time schedule, roughly?
It's a tight squeeze, but yeah.
This is fine. Surely nothing will go wrong.
Still early yet.
Yep.
And can I take a stab and a guess? Let's see. You are a petty officer, 2nd class, science. No other direct gaggle of Starfleet around you, so surely.
I missed my ride, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's happened before.
Well, wouldn't surprise me. Also, you were close. 3rd class. But maybe one day.
I can. Well, if they're trusting you to be out on your own like this without too much work, I suppose it is Deep Space Nine.
Totally like the undercurrent of, oh, they shouldn't be trusting me, but you know.
Looking at her face, she doesn't trust you at all.
Cool.
But
I'm used to it. It's fine.
But it's less of, you probably don't think this is directed at you. She just doesn't seem like she's a person that really trusts anyone easily or really likes most people.
Oh no. It is Kavai's whole entire goal in life now to make this woman her best friend. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
So you do need passage back to Seoul, is that my understanding?
Yes, please. Oh, by the way, my name's Kavai. Pleasure.
Very nice to meet you.
There's just that moment of hesitation of like, you're breaking the social rule. This is the part where you give me your name in. It's just like, okay, fine. Well, I have other ways of getting this information. It's fine. I think she'll just give like as like warm and polite a smile as she can.
Yeah, there is a. She does seem like she's about to say something, but then there is a chirp, and at first you think it's your communicator, but it's not. It's hers, and what she does have is it is the newer, nicer looking sort of Delta type of communicator badge, but it is, rather than that sort of silver and gold look to it, it is the backdrop of it is silver and the delta is white, which is just a is a signifier as a civilian and is Federation affiliated, but is not Starfleet.
Okay. Very sleek. I'll do that thing where it's like, you know when someone else gets a phone call and you're trying to be polite, so you like sort of like scoot, like point your body away from them to give them privacy even though you're still in the area.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that kind of thing. But their ears are good. It's
yes. Yeah, there's slight problem. Please don't say that. Two of my least favorite words, and you said them in conjunction with each other. Slight and problem. Yeah, well, we've been denied access. Of course we have. Why wouldn't we be? So, what do you want me to do? Something! Do something! I don't know what that means. Just...
Kavai will just sort of like very, very slowly, like sort of sinking back into their chair, like for all the world, there is a fight going on in her head, and everyone else has to be privy to it just because of the nature of their being. And they lose the fight. They will lean forward and just like sort of like snaking across the table of just like leaning of like anything I can help with, like hands on chin of just like full lean of just like I am so invested and so curious of what you've got going on now.
Fine. I don't think there's any harm in telling you because you're a petty officer, and if you use it for your own gain, I'll wreck your whole career.
Oh, she has no idea. Yeah, totally fair. How can I help?
Looking into some old Federation decisions of Federation intergalactic legalities, particularly leftover remnants from the Dominion War and things left uncharged or unpursued.
Does any of this like feel weird? Or like if I went from like interested to this is one too many coincidences happening all at the same time, and this feels convenient.
It does feel a little strange. The thing that feels the most strange, however, is Federation legalities, Dominion War, all of that stuff. It honestly, it's one of those things where you have to like think in the back of your mind, is like the stuff I asked for. Were we secure on that? Did something get fucked up in translation? What happened? And while your Nausicaan associate was able to get you some of these files, accessing some of these files do cause red flags to go off in Starfleet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But more importantly, certain files that are meant to not be accessed and somehow get accessed and put in sort of like a public thread, so to speak, to get to you. There are other people in the galaxy that have hooks just waiting to see if there's something.
Not sure like how to ask. Would I have any way of trying to, like, not like triangulate, like where's the problem? Like, this is time for, like, big brain and player not so smart. How can I determine what Kavai could piece together of this
What you can
due
piece together
to
of this,
their expertise?
yep, due to expertise and everything there, what you can ascertain is one, that file that you accessed, probably it's not the file itself that is important. The missions certainly are of import, but it's not necessarily listed as a. That's not the thing that would grab their attention. It is the interesting choice that one of the files was accessed, and it brings out probably Operation Twin Swords is the one that got the most attention. Only because, yes, well, everyone that, was an unfortunate loss in that whole mission was, given commendations posthumously and all of that. There is also the historical knowledge of there were other fleets certainly more capable. And people can read between the lines. And of course, young ensigns, fresh out of Starfleet, and cadets of like 4th and 3rd year, of course they're not going to know better. So they're not going to question the decision of how it's being weird. And that's the thing that probably got hooked on to.
Okay, so it's like we pulled a thread and hooked an additional one we didn't mean to, and that's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this person looks like she's found something, it's like striking gold almost. Not in a greedy sense, but more like, oh, there are a lot of people that have gotten away with shit. Okay, I'm gonna kick the hornet's nest and fuck up a lot of people's lives all at once.
Social justice. Social justice gold.
Okay. I think Kavai will, like, under the guise of, like, getting information from her about what she's looking for and all that, like, getting into, like, the aspects of that, like, and, like, Kavai genuinely wants to help and, like, make sure that they can secure things. Like, they don't have the ability to feel guilty about their hand in any of this because they just don't feel it. In their mind, nothing wrong. They are slightly concerned about having this shit on their person right now, but we'll get there when we get there. That's not the issue. I think more they're just trying to buy a little bit of time to get them talking, to make it look like they're looking up the best ways to help actively while doing recon on who they are and if Kavai can trust her, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because if we could work out a win-win in any way, good. If not, then I need to find another ride, and yesterday.
Okay. She kind of thinks about it. Well, how decent are you at accessing certain secure files?
It depends on the type of file. Why do you need, like, a like an actual hacker, or like how dirty are you willing to get?
Nothing that's gonna become inadmissible. Just certain things that have been locked through irritating circumstance. Things that previously would have been stuck into a record, because I do have kind of holds up a pad. I do have in writing that I can access this. It's just new Bajoran system, which means harder to access.
I think that does genuinely get a little bit of duper's delight on Kavai's face. Of just like, oh, I did that. Of just like, oh, yeah. I think she'd say, like, oh, systems around here. I mean, just look at the place. It looks like it's about to fall over any second. It can't be that. I can give it a shot. And mostly just like still trying to get them to keep chatting. Am I able to figure out by just looking it up, like maybe from the registry of her ship, like I want more background information on this person if I can get it.
Okay. Hilariously, the registry of her ship does give away a couple of things, but more importantly, it is someone that it kind of like pulls up, you're looking up a name, and then it follows you like, here's this tab, click this link, and then you find something that, you kind of didn't expect to find, but it's still incredibly relevant. From the year of 2381 to 82, she did serve aboard the USS Ross at one point.
Well, that means nothing to Kavai. So, well, ish. I think she's more just like, that sounds familiar. I don't know why. I don't pay attention to anything. File that away. Okay.
Other file information. She did end up leaving simply because she found Starfleet to be a little more constrictive than what she would have wanted in terms of then the more active freedom she gets in more of a civilian aspect.
Okay, awesome. I can definitely fuck with that angle. Okay. Can I figure out, like, sort of, what's the word? Like, from more or less, like, socials, can I, like, pull from other people's, like, information? Why do people hate this bitch?
There are a lot of people that do not like her from what you can see, but it is mainly because she is very good at stirring up the shit when she needs to. But more accurately, there are personal, like, memorandums that have been applied, and these are old ones, but they have been applied by at the time, a Lieutenant Jaloran, and as well as a specialist, Lee Jaxa. As
That should totally get your attention right there.
Yeah.
which
I think I immediately...
Yeah,
I should immediately connect the dots of why Ross is familiar at that point, because that was Jaloran's last posting.
I think I send an immediate message to Jaloran of just like, hey, you know her? Is she chill?
Her former rank would have been a Lieutenant Junior grade Loretta Jane Pride, which she's was a junior JAG officer at one point, but has since moved to a more civilian aspect. And in her personal record, it seems like out of 22 like civilian cases, she has successfully managed to win or successfully put in a like quotations like settlement. Out of those 22, she's done 16.
So this is
You
Pride.
rattled off.
Mhm.
You rattled off Pride instead of JAXA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. But there is. Yeah, that's my bad. But yeah.
So who are we talking to? JAXA or Pride?
This would be Pride here.
Okay.
But overall, what you get out of this Kavai is more or less trustworthy. Probably not overall. But in terms of, it seems like from the files that you're able to access, her wants for improvement are not altruistic. She does genuinely want that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. Kavai, you're so dumb. Fuck. She definitely has the reaction of like, oh, I can fix her. Like, I could bring her back. She's not too far gone. She's just like me. No, there's like this sense of like, yeah. Arm's length for now, but there's something about her that I vibe with. I get what they want, and I will definitely shoot a message to Jalor and be like, I need to ride home. Are they cool? Like, what do you think? And also, gonna sort of imply that I may have done an oopsie, but I'm not gonna give my boss the ammo to scold me when I get back immediately.
Too late.
But with all of that, this civilian, she does seem to find you intriguing, almost, in a weird way. Okay, well. If you can help, that shaves off some time that we have to spend here, so we can depart in the next...
Sure, I can give it a shot. And I think, like, at this point, Kavai's gonna, like, just... I think they just want to be on her good side so bad. She'll pull out some of her, like, personal kit, where it's just, like, very clear that this isn't amateur shit. Of just, like, oh, you happen to run into just the right person.
There is a look of recognition in her face very briefly before she seems to mask it.
I think Kavai doesn't even let her slip up on that for a second. I think she just, like, sort of grins back and is just like... I think she will sort of try for a little... Not a lie, but sort of like a... I think she'll say, yeah, sorry, you're kind of the sort of person I like running into. Let her sort of go with that however she may.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Kind of gives a light smile that's very confident. You're not sure if it's being forced or faked, or if it is genuine, but the thing she'll follow up with just because she does not want you to have anything to hold over her. It's like, I don't mind that. And but going off of that, she does. But well, seeing as you've saved me and my associate a ton of time, departure in 8 hours. Sound decent?
Yeah, totally fair. I now want all the information on the associate. If I can... Am I able to, like, get her communication?
No. She'll just tell you a place of meeting, but she's not going
Okay.
to allow you to have any sort of personal access to any of that. You're gathering she's a fairly private person, but it's also not necessarily because she is just.
Oh, yeah,
she
no,
just
she
doesn't
works...
trust people.
No, if she works in legal, like, she has every reason to that. Like, that makes total sense to Goodbye. Like, she's worked with enough, like, people who are diplomats, let alone, like, anyone in legal. No, people want them dead. That's fair and understandable. She will go behind her back to, like, break into any system she can to learn about that information on their own.
Okay. We'll visit that in a bit, but
Absolutely.
before any sort of actual scolding can happen, a mindscape all the way back on Trill in these silver type of pools. Jaloran, you have shifted as the Hone symbiote has backed off, and now yours has taken the forefront. It is like a very messy house of mirrors right now.
I would like to make a slight correction.
Yes?
It's not just the Hone symbiote that's backed off. It's Tate. Hone and Tate are the same person at this point.
Okay.
So it's not just Hone, it is Tate. So Tate has backed off.
Okay.
Tate's still there, but I'm just putting, because we've been making a distinction between Tate and Hone. There is no distinction anymore.
Okay. With them taking the sort of letting off the reins of this sort of internal journey, Jaloran, your mind obviously is there's some housekeeping that needs to happen.
That's an understatement.
There is a lot of cracked areas, like spiderwebbed glass. Memories they're clearly there, but they are pushed through a lot. It's like a stained glass window that has just been damaged, and it's slowly spiderwebbing, and at some point it's going to break if nothing is done. And you were brought, Tate as well, you were brought to this moment that Jaloran has probably, though has not ever openly admitted to anyone except really herself, has probably obsessed over this to a point where it's privately obsessed over it, but to probably a slightly unhealthy degree. You don't know this. You don't know where this is. All you know is looking at the pips and stuff. Jaloran is of a this is a long time ago, and there is a person you somewhat recognize, perhaps. You've seen them maybe in the Admiralty, though they have the pips of a captain at this point. And it's a compound or a facility of some kind, and there appears to be a few other members, and they were running through counting down time, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 90 seconds, different things. And it looks like they're at the final stage of something. And everything goes wrong. Timing was missed, maybe? Or human error? It doesn't seem like Jaloran at all. And it kind of... I don't know, for you, Jaloran, seeing this from an outsider-in perspective for you, are you kind of walking around, like, are you fully conscious that you're doing it, or do you think you're kind of just doing it as an instinct, like, almost like an intrusive thought that's just, you're just doing it?
One of those things where it initially started as an unconscious intrusive thought, but it's like once you hit a key moment, it suddenly freezes and it goes away. Because it's clearly something that she doesn't want to focus on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so knee-jerk unconscious, I'm thinking about this, that it's a natural place for her mind to land if she's not focused on it.
Mm-hmm.
But she's clearly got something else in mind for this trip.
Where are you trying to go?
She moves back to the previous landscape of like being in hallways that look very Federation based. And whereas one might expect them to be clean and crisp and well put together, there's damage all over the place. It looks like wherever they're at has gone through hell. Panels are blown out, lights are flickering. It's like similar to that spiderweb cracking from before. There's clearly a lot of cleanup that needs to happen. But one of the things that Tate will notice right off the bat is, unlike most Federation ships and star bases, what's behind the paneling is not the usual Federation tech. It's what they saw before they got punted out of her mind when trying to wake her up. It's all Borg tech.
Where do we start?
Well, first we have to find Impact. And she just starts swiftly moving down the hallway.
Tate keeps right up with you, like it's nothing. Instead of walking slightly behind you like they normally do, they're right next to you.
I'm not entirely sure what you did to wake me up, but it definitely had a ripple effect.
I contacted Icheb, and I got the device made to wake you up. And
that pulls her up short.
I'm remembering that, right, Joe? I contacted Icheb.
Yes, you were able to contact Icheb because the person who would have been the most helpful, she's really hard to contact these days.
Yeah, I couldn't find your other contact no matter how hard I looked. She was very good.
Well, yes, the Rangers do tend to move around a lot. But Did I hear you correctly? Ichab?
Yes. It's in the report. I wrote it all down.
It's just like
I submitted the
deep
report
sigh
to you.
and a pinch of her nose and like of all the things to skim past. Well, that explains some. But as much of a prodigy Ichab is, he wouldn't have been able to anticipate this.
I should have been able to anticipate this. I'm sorry. It's my job to anticipate these things.
No, it is not. This is something that was set up long before we met. And she resumes their quick pace down the hallway.
Yeah. Tate's just right next to you. Like as fast as you're going, Tate's matching your speed. Even though Tate's a little bit shorter than you.
Going down this hall and seeing all this damage and this sort of blend of tech, the fix that you have a feeling that the commander has in mind is not that she doesn't know how to do it, it is just she has not had the time to do it. On top of that, it is a continuing intrusive thought, kind of where the paneling should be, like where the tears in the paneling. You're seeing like that sort of underlying thing. Well, Jolene is thinking of one problem, but there's always just a piece that always goes to something else. And this is a more recent memory, one that was a private memory, one that you were not privy to. There is a meeting, a debrief, a admiralty. Jaloran sitting across from a 4-star admiral's desk, which is no small feat, and most 4-star admirals don't take the time to do that. But there is an admiral. Their face is kind of blurred out, but you can tell this is one of those, one of these events, where, Jaloran almost probably had to swallow just a tiny bit of pride, to talk to this person, because you can hear the voice, and it's very clearly, the face is blocked out, but you can hear Admiral Jellicoe's voice. Are you sure about this, Commander? There's a very steep accusation. Knowing and going forward for you, Jaloran, of course, going through your memory, and with the help of Q, certain individuals seemed more suspect than others at that point. I just want you to be sure what you're potentially bringing forward to me, Commander. How would Jaloran have responded in that?
It would have been a very calm, serious, but firm affirmative. with the very clear intention that she's going to continue on.
Mm-hmm. Kind of the moment, uh, the moment you realize that, as you're walking, your mind is wandering again, that sort of memory fades and it's just panels and tech behind it again. And you do eventually make it to your destination, to where you need to be. And where does this grand origin of this problem, what does it look like?
They reach a level where it looks like there's at the end of one hallway is the doors to the holodeck. And where Tate might have gotten the impression that she would walk right past the holodecks, she actually stops abruptly right in front of it. And
Tate figured it was going to be a holodeck. When Tate saw the holodeck, they were like, "Oh yeah, this is where we're going."
Okay.
This is making perfect sense.
But she smacks the panel, and she doesn't even doesn't use the usual command of pull up such and such program. She just smacks the panel to make the doors open and spits them out back on Earth in an ancient part of a city that, with a little thought about what is Earth's history, Tate may start to recognize it as Italy. And it's like we're in the old part of the city. This is what she's identified as the root of the problem.
It is an interesting scene for you because, well, Jolene is certainly knowing where to go. It's almost eerie because it is just the two of you. It is very, very quiet.
I think Tate is trying to be while Tate is curious about a lot of stuff, Tate knows that questioning Jaloran doesn't necessarily yield results. So, yeah. So they're just there. Jaloran was there to help them, so they're there to help Jaloran. And if Jaloran needs their help, they're gonna help them question ask. And if Jaloran wants to tell them what's going on, then Jaloran can. But yeah, I think especially in this case where we're fixing something that Tate broke, Tate doesn't feel like they have the right to question Jaloran right now.
Okay. Heading to your destination, Jaloran, and kind of this area where the root of the problem has originated. And what do we see, the incident occurring that where this problem just spiraled out, or where?
She leads them down a few different streets, and they eventually enter a house. And then they come across a memory. Clearly, Jolaren is sitting across from a young woman, or who appears to be a young woman. They're having tea, and one of them, the other lady, starts chanting something, and Jolaren becomes very absorbed in it. And then at the last second, the woman reaches out and bops Jolaren's nose. And then suddenly the whole landscape shatters. It's like everything suddenly breaks apart. And Jolaren just turns to Tate rather calmly. This is where everything went wrong.
this memory, or
Apparently, I had been trying to follow up on a suspicion, but I learned a lot more than what I expected. And that one moment, that one touch, altered everything in my life. Because unfortunately, for the other person, she's not aware that I'm a touch telepath. Or at least, in that moment, she wasn't aware.
was that person? I'm assuming she was born and she appeared.
A bit.
And you absorbed something, or something unlocked in you, or something broke.
Something had already been unlocked, which is why I'm a touch telepath in the first place. So I absorbed all of her memories. That created a crisis.
Absorbing. I'm. I'm going to extrapolate that she has a longer than a human length of memories.
You'd be right there.
Is she's
immortal.
She's immortal. Yeah, okay. Tate. I mean, Tate's heard stories. Tate's been in Starfleet Academy. Tate knows that this is a very strange galaxy with very strange things. Tate's is like, oh, okay. So, and Tate's already doing the math of, a normal person, a normal human's mind, taking up the centuries of an immortal's memories. Yeah, it's not gonna end well. So Tate's is like, oh. So what do we need to do?
What's becoming very problematic is the fix that Ichib, whatever Ichib created in order to pull me out of whatever state I was in, that it undid some of what Seven helped as far as containing everything that was introduced by the Immortal, which was about 3,000 years worth of memories.
Tate just goes, yeah, that's older than me. Okay.
You remember when I alluded to I'm like you but not like you?
Yeah, no, that's making sense now.
Mm-hmm.
I had an idea that that's something that I thought that maybe you were the immortal, that you have an immortal's memories. Okay. Or at least you were very long lived.
That just gets a short bark of a laugh from her, and it's like, I'm no more longer lived than, well, your host, anyway.
That's true. Yeah. Alright, so
I probably have a couple decades on you, but aside from that, I'm not that old.
yeah, we're currently 27, but we're also about 317, give or take. And just for like audience clarification, because we got we saw a glimpse of two individuals that we don't know about yet.
Yep.
In the last episode, that's not including those two individuals. This is just including all the people that T has access to right now.
Yes.
That they all have access to. So 317, give or take a few years.
Yeah, and Jalorn remembers the echoes of those two hosts, and she just kind of does a half shrug and is like, we could probably tack on a few decades.
Yeah. But we're not here to talk about my decades. We're here to talk about the decades that got into your brain.
So,
well, eons, actually.
Here
Millennia.
is the potential fixes. One, Egypt's hotfix, well, it did do exactly what it needed to. It definitely broke a lot of things. And there are two ways to fix this. One, you have to figure out how to, like, basically put a strainer on these memories, because otherwise it's just overload, and the human brain cannot take that much. Or the other idea that, I don't know if Lauren would be totally for that, is to essentially not purge the entirety of it, but purge parts that would be deemed, at least for Jaloran, like details that might not be immediately relevant, or perhaps don't hold that much import, like just an average day, like a memory that's just an average day. That's not really needed.
I just thought of a third idea that just is making me grin.
Or what's this third idea?
So it's gonna take a slight explanation. So trill brains are built different than human brains. They're built to contain more memory from the symbiote. Symbiote's kind of the strainer for them, but trill brains can handle a lot more memory than a human brain. So
Yes.
my idea is to maybe for Tate to take some of these memories into themselves.
That is certainly an option. I will say this. There is no, like, immediate way to tell, like, how old, per se, like, how old can a Trill symbiote actually live? There's actually no real, like, defined data on that, but essentially, as long as they stay healthy, there is a theory they could survive for well over 1,000 years if, they stay healthy. I would say this. Here is what you are sacrificing if you choose to do that. I would say you'd be taking it probably wouldn't even be half, but it would be, say 300 years. 300 years of memories, like, just straining, even, like, straining and taking a copy of it, essentially, would lighten the load for Jaloran considerably. However, a future host is likely not to occur because there's that strain. So that is your choice to make.
Okay. So Tate will basically say to the commander, I think I can take some. Like, it's up to you, however you want to fix it. But I think I can lighten the load a little bit. I can probably take like a couple hundred years off if you need me to. And they'll do their best to make it seem like that there's no consequences, and that they're basically trying to make sure that the commander can't read that there is a consequence, but they're telling a half truth, and they're trying to make sure that the commander can't read that. Now the commander's been Forlorn's been in Tate's brain, so I leave it up to you if Jaloran fully buys that Tate can do that without consequence.
Yeah, Jaloran's not buying it.
Tate sees that and it's like, well, if it's an option in any case, if we can't do anything else. I broke this. I want to help you fix it.
And you will be helping fix it. And the best way to fix it is to reconstruct what Seven did. And that's how I was coping with all of this before. That's why there's Borg tech.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She was the one who set up the organization system to keep things separate. whatever it was that each chip constructed tore apart those separations. It's going to take some hard work, but we can put those back.
Tate's eyes flash slightly, and they're like, "Yeah, I can do that." And I can't do the voice, but their voice slightly changes to match Maz a little bit. Not quite, like it's still Tate, but it's matching Maz a little bit.
Yeah. With that, it's almost like seeing like Tate overlapped with Maz. It's a weird sort of like spectral effect. But well, Tate is saying that Tate, you can actually hear. Jaloran can hear like the faintest like whispered echo, but it's hard to make out for Jaloran. But for you, you can hear Maz pretty clearly. You want me to fix what?
We're gonna have to metaphysically fix Borg tech in Jaloran's brain to help filter out about 3,000 years of memory.
Give or take another couple hundred, depending on what Seven left behind of, well, who she assimilated.
Can you do it, or do we need to bring in Dodir with this too?
Don't bring him here. Don't insult me.
I wasn't insulting you. I was just at many hands make light work. That's your saying, by the way. You know that.
I know my own saying. I've just never been a psychic engineer before, so this is different.
Well, you're one of the best. You were one of the best engineers in the galaxy. So let's do this.
If it helps, there is actually some physical tech in my head.
Right, well, that has to be accessed externally, so let's deal with the mental portion of it, and then the external part should be easy. Is that too abrasive?
No, you're fine.
Nope. Perfect.
The commander prefers people who are more blunt.
Forthright.
Yeah.
Perfect, then you and I are going to get along probably well, or not at all.
Pretty well.
You've only known me for a couple hours.
But I've met other hosts that are very similar to you.
Yeah, well, I can ruin a relationship at warp speed, so... But anyways...
Yeah, well, we won't talk about Delilah.
Don't do that.
I just love having access to these memories now.
I love this shit so much!
You are the most youthful and irresponsible... I can't even say that, never mind.
I'm not the most irresponsible, that's the problem.
Whatever. Okay.
Alright, let's do this.
So... I'm just a voice and a memory. You have to do everything I'm telling you to. And
I got it.
Maz will start going through. Jaloran knows some of the stuff, what they have to do. But I am going to make the two of you roll, because that is how this is going to go. So, for Jaloran, this is going to be... So, before anything happens, I'm going to tell you both right now. Combined. This is a combined roll, but it is going to be a difficulty of 7. Which is larger than the standard difficulty, but it's a combined roll for the two of you, so you'll be rolling separate, but you'll be combining your results. As long as you get 7, you'll be fine. But for Jaloran, this is actually going to be this is going to be a reason engineering for yourself, because you're you're still technically doing an engineering feat. And then for Tate here, this is going to be this is a presence engineering for you because your presence is what's allowing things to assist. And I am spending 2 threat.
Okay, gotcha. I am going. Let's see here. So let's see here. So can we use values, right?
Yes, you can use values, use anything at your disposal to try and swing the
Because
other way.
we don't have momentum.
You do not have momentum, no.
No, we don't have momentum.
All right. So I'm going to use seize the opportunity when it presents itself. The opportunity is here to fix Delorn. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So that's 2 successes for me.
Yep.
I'm gonna pull on a value and a focus.
Okay.
Compassion through understanding.
Okay. Yep.
And she's got a focus of mental discipline.
Yep. That is certainly applicable here.
She's
When Maz
also... Go ahead.
when Maz's focus on engineering come into play, because I can use Maz's focuses.
Yes.
All right.
So you have 4 automatic ones right now. So all you need is 3 more. And anything that is a 17 through 20 is a complication.
I just rolled, so I'll wait until Delorn tells her results.
Crit and a success. So 3 for me.
3. Okay.
2 for me.
2. Okay. So then you have 2 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And there were no.
My highest roll was a 13.
Okay.
My highest was a 10. So
Okay.
well within range.
It takes time, as all things do. But eventually, Delorn, Tate, you get it to a point where everything looks honestly better than okay. Maz's insight is really helpful. He's a little... Well, Delorn, you do appreciate people who are forthright. You can definitely see how they might, over time, get grading.
You can definitely see how Maz has probably ruined a couple of relationships with their attitude.
But with that, it really comes down to Delorn, the mental strife of it. Yeah, that's all over and done. There's still the mechanical scientific aspect, but that actually is pretty easy to square away. The thing you come down to is just don't be too hasty with when you're doing those repairs, and it should all be good.
And as they're working along and going through, she just brings up the visuals of step by step they're repairing each hallway as they come to it. It looks like, to help them process it a bit better, it just looks like they're tinkering with this and that and gradually putting it back together and snapping the panel back into place, and little by little it all starts to look like it should. And along the way, Tate is able to get glimpses of what she meant by the fact that there's quite a bit of lives stuffed in her head. Not just the immortals, but she did as she alluded to, there's several hundred lives from 7. It's because she had to connect to 7. She absorbed what 7 remembers from assimilating people while she was still a Borg drone. And then there's her own lives. like what she's experienced in life over the last almost 5.5 decades.
Yeah. You see, as like that outline of Maz. That line of Maz kind of like goes back into as Tate's working. It goes back into them, and it's doing exactly what Tate's doing, and then it eventually goes back into Tate, and it's just like it's a part of Tate. So like the visual Maz was a little bit for your benefit, but it's always there for Tate.
Yeah.
And Tate, Tate doesn't have a lot of engineering experience in their record, but Tate like deals with these panels and stuff like a seasoned pro very easily.
Towards the end of it, she just kind of straightens up and like stretches her back, wipes a brow. I think that's the last of it.
Tate takes a look around. Yeah, looks like it. And wipes their brow too, and it's just like, well, I hope Mira's not bored just sitting by the pools.
I think Mira has a way of finding a way to occupy herself.
Yeah.
Eventually we kind of fade from this scene, and eventually coming to consciousness within the pools. It is interesting because you haven't been in here for more than a couple hours, probably. The two of you feel so tired.
But before we leave, can we do one little extra thing?
Yes.
I'm down.
It's like she's clearly moving a little bit more slowly. She's clearly tired. Just like she leads them back to their entryway. But as they're walking along, Tate starts to hear an odd noise echoing down the hallway. Takes them a second to really register what it is, but it's the pitter-patter of small feet. And around the bend comes running this little boy. Takes them a moment to really register who this boy is. But as he gets closer, you can see that looks a lot like Jaloran. And the confirmation of relationship to Jaloran is quickly confirmed when he slams into her legs and just gives her a really tight squeeze. You are certainly a sight for sore eyes. And Jaloran's just grinning down at this little boy, like with fond affection, before she looks up at Tate. Suppose before we go, this little one wants to meet you.
It is one of those things where they want. It's that want to meet, but also like that want of like the want to meet, but also the want to like I don't want to interact. Like want to meet, don't want to interact. It's like that weird child behavior of like, yeah, I want to do both things, but I can't do both things, so I have to pick one of these both things.
Tate will get down to their level and say, "Hi, my name's Tate. How are you?" And we'll just hold out their hand slowly.
What is this child's name?
Okemos. He just kind of shyly peeks around her legs. You don't look like a Tate.
I've been thinking of changing it. Would you like to hear what I'm thinking of?
Very quickly and eagerly shakes, nods his head, and leans forward as if he's about to hear a really important secret.
So Tate will cuff will cuff their hand and like whisper into his ears, knowing full well that Jalorn can probably hear it. Leora.
He just lights up.
That name kind of whispers, kind of almost like a soft melody through the halls here. And however this follows, whatever that conversation follows, I think it's more appropriate to let that be up for Jaloran and Tate to interpret and for others to guess. And at this point, we will come to consciousness in this pool. And yeah, you're so tired. But it is a strange feeling for you. Tate. It feels strange because it is felt very, very cast in so many directions, and now you feel very whole. For you, Jaloran, it is a relief. You have been holding it together by a hair.
Shields were down at 12%.
Yeah. But cutting everything kind of as the elder kind of greets you, walks you through the process of like, yes, you are now like, in full symbiosis, but also you just went through that, so maybe like don't strain yourself. It's really strange hearing an old woman say this because she could keel over at any point. You are
Question.
yes.
Does Hone know this woman? Like Tate's never met her, but does Hone know this woman? And like, does Hone know this woman and know her name and stuff?
No, they do not.
Hone doesn't. Okay. Just want to know if they did or not.
Another question. Did Mira manage to come back on time? To meet
Yes,
them
you do
and-
sound a little distant though.
Thank you.
Yes, but Mira was able to come back because you don't have anything else you need to do at this point. So,
Yeah. Good.
but with that, the three of you at least have been able to conclude your business, and you can stay on Trill for the remainder of your shore leave, though you do have to spend some of it traveling back. Not a ton, but like you also, you have a new intelligence director for the Seoul Atlantic Field Office, which is, and from what Jaloran's heard, she's not as lax as the previous. Kavai, you were able to get passage.
Woo!
It is delightful.
Yeah.
This civilian vessel, unlike the Starfleet Miranda class that you had to hitchhike on, does have a holodeck.
Yes! I probably am
I'm-
like, super excited, and then, like, is it, like, where is it in terms of, like, is it better, is it worse?
It's a civilian holodeck, so it's not Federation issue, and it is
Oh, honey.
it really falls under the category of this will suffice.
it becomes Kavai's like, oh, I needed a project. This is, oh yeah, I can upgrade like these like couple panels here. We could have like food in here tasting a lot better. Let's
Don't
like
do not touch my ship.
they do it anyway.
What were you gonna say, Lynn?
Will they have emerged in time for, like, one of the first things Lynn will have, or Jaloran will have done is to head back to the ship because she wants to sleep, but she will have also checked messages and whatnot. Will she have emerged in time to send a response back to Kavai to be like, yes, and then with an emphatic, bring them to headquarters so I can talk to them? But, like, in general, just a reassurance that, like, yes, Kavai can trust them.
Yeah.
Dope.
We'll cut out the travel time, and
Actually, I wanted to ask. I wanted to say as well, since Mira feels a little personally responsible. She is gonna give Tate and Doran a bit of time, and then tell them what happened while they were out. She will like try and ask and insist of investigation on this entire cult situation, and like trying to get them all under control.
yeah.
This was really freaking dangerous.
Yeah, and even though this perpetrator was subdued, even the fact that they got out is, even though, like, you're smart enough and you have dealt with Jaloran's way of how she, pun intended, and also she doesn't, but how she runs ship is just, information is key, and if something feels like it's too close for comfort, it is. And this, like, even though, they never got that close, the fact that they got out is enough of an alarm bell.
And also the fact that they knew that, because we can pretty much guess that they were after home, right?
Yeah, that takes no guesswork, really. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's exactly what
So
happened.
the fact that they knew that that Tate and that Leora and Hone were here, and they're a prisoner, and they shouldn't know that stuff. It's a little concerning.
Yep, so Jaloran is definitely going to be taking that information and starting an investigation.
Yeah.
As soon as they get back to headquarters and they're officially not on shore leave anymore.
Yeah. Would I recognize this person now that I'm fully integrated? Well, almost fully integrated anyway.
Not really. It probably has to do with the two that you aren't fully connected with yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're being stubborn.
Yeah. Taking out the travel time, though, as...
there was one thing I wanted to do, but we can do that later.
Oh, we can do that now, too.
Tate wanted to call... Leora wanted to call their mom.
Is that the name that you have chosen at this point?
Leora is my new name, and they'll put in the paperwork and stuff.
Well then. Well, you may put in the paperwork there. Well, nope, that's not it. It is...
Yeah, one of the other things that Jaloran will have started on before they start the trip home is getting the getting all the official side things that she can handle as Leora's CEO. She'll get that paperwork started.
Mm-hmm. With that, the arriving... So, yeah. With all that quotations, paperwork, and stuff, I do believe, Slay, at one point you said... my brain might have just skipped right over it again. Did you say you were gonna call your mom?
I was going... Yeah, I want to call my mom.
the ship has warp travel, but warp travel is not instantaneous.
Mhm.
There is a delay on pickup, as per usual, but also this one, Lauren didn't keep that a secret. That last call that she interacted with any of your team did not go well. So the quotations, the long ringtone is probably her deciding whether or not she's going to pick up, but she eventually
Um,
does.
yeah, I was about to say if I had an idea
This
if she didn't want to pick up, like I had a message to send,
Mm-hmm.
like, but she's picking
and
up.
it is
So
Jalorn's ship, so all of the usual encoding and all that stuff that Jalorn typically employs with personal communications are definitely in place.
Mm-hmm. Seems like she's doesn't look like a starship ready room. Looks like a station presently that she's in. It doesn't look like it's a command station office. It looks like it's a temporary stay. But
mhm. Hi, Mom. I know what happened to Dad. I know pretty much everything now. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, Mom.
there is a palpable and a very very long, drawn out silence as she kind of just. Your mother has always been a very hard person to read, and even now she still is. Um, and what you have said definitely is. They are some very painful reminders, but they're also very powerful things to say. And though she says nothing in response and eventually does just hang up, uh,
Before she hangs up, Tate would continue and say, "We had to deal with, well, Mira had to deal with the puppeteer while I was in Wolves. We got him. He broke out. We got him. We're gonna look into how he knew I was there. Um, we got him. He's not going anywhere. And I chose a new name. My name is Leora now, Leora Mahone. And again, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, Mom. I'm so sorry. And I know you're not gonna want to hear this, but if if you if you want to talk about Dad again or something, I'm here. If you want to talk about any of that, I can help you. Um, you've done so much for me. I understand why you did what you did, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. But thank you for doing everything you could to make sure I was safe and make sure I was strong enough to handle what was coming. And you don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm fully I'm strong. I can handle this stuff. And just focus on trying to move past this if you can, Mom. Because I think it hurt you a lot, and I don't think you may not have dealt with it. You may have put on what a lot of people are calling the Mahil mask, if you know what I mean, like the sternness and stuff. And that's fine for now, but eventually you're gonna have to deal with it, and I'll be there with you when you're ready, Mom. I'll be there for you, like you were there for me. And Tay will
yeah,
just sit there in silence until their mom responds or hangs up.
yeah, she still doesn't respond. Because that's a lot for her to hear all at once. But also, Your mother and yourself have never really had, like, proper conversations, and though this conversation, though, feels one-sided, her silence says a lot more. She doesn't try to get a word in edgewise. She doesn't try to, turn that back on you in any capacity, and eventually just hangs up. And though no words were spoken, I think that's probably the first real conversation that the two of you have had in a very long time.
Probably since I was 7.
Jalaren's just there across the room. It's like she's stayed out of sight, but clearly making sure Leora knows that she's there if they need her.
Leora is actually bites away a couple of years, but Leora's fine. Like, I don't think they thought that they were going to get too much out. They know how their mom reacts to things now. They kind of understand why she reacts to things the way she does, and their mom, they kind of understand that their mom kind of has a freeze response to certain things. So, like, they knew this was going to take a long time, maybe if ever. But the fact that she didn't try to turn things around on them or interrupt them or anything, it's a good sign.
With the travel time and eventually all of you returning to the Seoul Atlantic Field Office and Earth proper and Madrid as a whole, hilariously, Kavai will actually make it back first.
Hell yeah!
But not by much, by like a few hours, but still first. Eventually all of you
There's the caveat of like Jalaren has to take her personal ship over to the starbase and then take a shuttle down to Earth.
Mm-hmm. However, all of you actually get to meet the new intelligence director of the Seoul Atlantic Field Office, which is a different change-up. She holds the same rank that Admiral Jellicoe. She is a 4-star admiral. And this is one Admiral Jabril, and she is cast choice I would have picked is Carrie Ann Moss. So she is a very intense person. Looking at each of you, like, not just all of you, but like the entirety of the Seoul Atlantic Field Office and the presence that she gives, just as, gathering attention, and just kind of raises a hand to sort of this common room, and everyone listens pretty much immediately. She is... Your mother has always been an intimidating person. This woman is in a league of her own.
She out Mahil.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I look forward to working with all of you.
Clearly.
Well, most all of you. Commander?
Just earns her a smirk.
This fucking bitch.
Could you repeat that?
She basically gestured that Commander Jaloran follow her.
There's a small roll of her eyes as she follows the Admiral.
Tate will just gesture to everyone to get back to what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Admiral and Commander are talking. That's above our pay grade. Let's just get back to our jobs.
Mira actually, she kind of turns to Kawai and she looks a little bit, not embarrassed, but just kind of awkward. Hey, would you mind if we at some point talk a little bit?
Oh, yeah, always. Oh, speaking of, I brought treats.
Oh, is that for me?
Yes.
Oh,
These are supposed to be really good. She's like pulling out like little boxes of like, just I bought this on their promenade. Like, it's supposed to be like a little local delicacy. I had never had anything from over here.
Oh, that's really, really nice of you. Thanks. We can share it if you want to.
Oh, sure.
Great. But yeah, if I could, catch you somewhere private.
Oh, your headphones went.
Your headphones did something again, Lil.
Ooh. 1 second. Better now?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I could, catch you somewhere in private, that would be great.
Oh,
Tate will just like walk past and say, "Your mandatory break comes up in 5 minutes," and we'll just walk past.
Kavai will catch Tate's arm real quick.
Um,
Oh, hey, hang on, you. I got something for you too.
I mean, Leora, I just misnamed my own character. We're all gonna have to get used to this, guys.
Change your Discord name.
Oh yeah, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, but also I don't think Kavai knows yet, unless like that went on the group.
Oh yeah. It's in their paperwork, but I don't know if Goodbye knows it. But
Who reads that?
Joran probably would have
Mira.
pulled them together as a small huddle before they met. the
Okay,
Admiral.
okay. In that case, then. Oh, sorry, my bad. We are right.
Yeah.
Nope, I got something for you. Hang on. And they will shuffle through their bag, and pull out a model kit of DS9. I hope you don't already have this one.
I actually don't have any stations. This is really cool. Thank you, Goodbye.
Yes.
Aww, that's so cute.
Yeah, I tried to pick up something for everybody, but some of you guys are really hard to shop for.
Thank you. We have a new admiral looking in on us. So until we know her, what she tolerates and what she doesn't, at least try to look busy.
Only for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Goodbye.
I always look busy.
I know.
I always do stuff.
I know. But we got a new admiral. Let's just make sure everything is as shipshape as we can get it.
An effort will be made.
Thank you.
Speaking
Your
of,
break starts in a couple minutes.
Actually, no. Let's go to that private conversation between Kavai and Mira.
Oh, we're doing it now?
Yes.
Cool. So when they found themselves alone, Mira kind of sits down. She takes a deep breath. She twiddles for her fingers for a couple of moments, and then she kind of looks at Kawai. Okay, this is a weird question. And I hope you don't get me wrong, but do you ever feel kind of out of the circle, sort of. Like something kind of prevents you from understanding others.
I just immediately, like, without like trying to like read the room fully, Kawai just like barks a laugh, and it's just like only every second of every day, and then like catches themselves, focuses back in, and like will look you in the eye, and just be like, "Wait, are you okay?"
She kind of laughs at her reaction. Yeah, I'm fine. I just, I never had trouble with communicating with people, right? I never had trouble understanding stuff. It's pretty easy, both with fighting and with medicine. It's, well, not easy, I mean, in kind of knowledge, but easy to understand, right? When you talk to someone. But when I'm with our team, I just don't feel like I'm on the same page with everyone. I get it. It's because I'm not a very very Starfleet person. All I know is medicine, and that's how I got here. But I don't know a lot about other cultures and other things. And the time that I just spent with Jaloring and
Leora.
Leora, I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with names. I'm saying that as a person. I'm really sorry. I will remember it. I swear.
I have like.
Yeah, I'll change the
faces
Discord
so
name
hard.
while you guys are talking. Let me do that.
Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, yeah, and Leora, it's showed this to me even more. I even didn't have any idea what they were doing until the last moment and what was happening. It just by pure coincidence that I managed to resolve this situation. I mean, and I don't know what's happening in their heads either. I don't know what's happening in your head. Even though I try, I'm sorry. This is just rambling. This makes no sense.
I think Kawai will just like wordlessly hold out their hand.
Mira kind of looks at the hand, but assumes it's just sort of way to show support and takes it.
The moment your fingertips like touch, you get that usual static, but then you're faced with like a wall of noise. It's every show, every obsession, every moment of distraction, every moment of stimulus needed to hold everything back. And then once you break through that, you just feel the strongest thing Kawai is able to put out there without completely overwhelming. And it is this just sense of, I get you. You are seen. What you are feeling, I feel it too. And I love that I can tell you you're not alone.
Oh, Mira is like absolutely stunned. Oh, it's exactly the noise that she made.
I
At
think
first,
like that's like exactly the point where Kavai like pulls everything back because you're aware that were only faced with like the bare surface level of what all is there.
yeah, she can feel it.
I hardly ever know what's going on around. I don't want to know most of the time. I just like being useful. And I could never do what you do. And I know that roles don't make a person, but I don't think any of us are nearly in as bad of a place as we think. And you get like that like leftover bit of like like a spark of like Kavai's like fanaticism, and they just sort of smile like, Mira, we met at Q. Like, if we weren't doing something right, that wouldn't have happened. Like, we're gonna be okay. Doubts
I
are
know we're doing
normal.
everything right. So far, we've been successful in most things that we've done. And it means a lot, whatever you just shown me. I'm just, trying to understand the world around me isn't as important to me as trying to understand whatever is happening with here. And she kind of like points at her hand right now, or whatever happened with, I think of you as not just my teammates and my superiors. We are supposed to be friends, right?
Totally.
Yeah, that's sort of where I get stumped, It's okay if I don't know how things work in specifics, but not knowing what exactly I'm protecting when I have to protect it, that's makes me a little confused, and I don't feel like I can ask them at this point. They feel kind of, out of reach now. Like they have their own thing going on, and it would be kind of weird if I just, jumped in.
I think Kavai like just sort of like opens up like a pad, like just like sort of like, what do you want to know? Like we could find it. And then just sort of stops, course corrects in their little brain. It's just like, I think they sort of puzzle over this for a minute of just like, that's not how my bids for connection go. Trying to compute. And then they just kind of like put their hands on their hips. Well, how do we fix this? What do you want to know? Like, because they're in like problem solve mode, but like,
Mary kind of chuckles, just like Snickers in her fist, like, you know, you look really cute when you do this sort of pose and serious look. But yeah, if it would help if you would first explain what just happened with our hands.
oh, that you will get like an info dump.
Yeah, we're gonna pull away from that scene because that's a lot of stuff.
There.
But the commander has what I'm sure Jalorn has already deemed a probably conversation that she's not going to like.
Probably not.
The Admiral, you know, once you get close enough, we could talk in your office, of course, or we could just walk around the field office. I'm indifferent.
She goes ahead and gestures towards the direction of her office.
Alright, office is in.
I think my office will be fine.
She steps in. One thing notable, she steps in before you. It is your office, but she steps in before you.
Thus the eye rolling earlier.
So, Commander, I assume you have an assumption of how this conversation is going to go.
Perhaps suspicion is a better word to use than assumption. But please,
I was...
prove me wrong.
Well, first off, I look over all your team's files and records and achievements, commendations, all of these things. I am impressed by some aspects and thoroughly disturbed by others.
That gets her a non-committal shrug.
Commander, I am not the previous directors, and the leniency that has been given by those two, Starfleet could well say it's been too much. However, I understand that is part of the conditions for you taking this field office here. And while I am willing to respect some of those conditions, I can't help but feel there are certain aspects, particularly the attack on this field office, that some details may have been omitted. Am I correct in that assumption, Commander?
She narrows her eyes at the Admiral and just crosses her arms, and it's like her whole body language is now suddenly becoming very closed off. I don't presume that I will expect the same things from you as I did the previous directors. Every director is different. They managed it differently. My presumption is that you will do the same. You will put your own stamp on this directorship as the others did. I made it quite clear that I will need the leniency and breathing room to do what I do best with my team. They excel when they have that room. As for that attack, yes, certain things were left out because they were on a need-to-know basis. Prior to you stepping into this directorship, you did not need to know.
You expect her posture to get more tense, but she almost relaxes a little bit. Well, that is a relief, Commander. I have dealt with several intelligence officers in the past, and certainly yours is an outlier. There is no denying that. However, I do appreciate that you have run things the way you have, and they have been thus far effective. That being said, there are a couple issues that I would like to address, and before I hear a stark no, I would like myself to put my reasoning forth. And you have time to think on this, Commander, but not a lot of time. Most notably, Petty Officer Kavai is not, though it does operate in a Starfleet capacity, is not officially. Is that my understanding?
You are correct. They are a provisional officer until they choose their future path. My hope is perhaps Kavai will join the Academy one day. But that is their choice.
Very well. If that is the case, then I just wanted you to be sure that is where you want the direction to go. With that being said, are you aware that they accessed secure files?
When?
Several days ago?
We were on shore leave at the
On
time.
your desk, Jaloran.
Has she actually had time to look at them yet?
Probably not, but they are on your desk currently.
We have just returned from shore leave, and I have yet to go through anything that landed on my desk prior to that return. That was something that I had planned to go through this morning, along with meeting with everyone.
Well then, Commander. 2 files of note. One that you will know is Operation Nightfall and Operation Twin Sword.
You're breaking up a bit. I don't know if it's on your end or mine.
It is on my end. 2 files of note are Operation Twin Sword and Operation Nightfall. That one you should know.
I do.
Then, as you understand, Commander, as you've said to me, in impressive grit, that which is need to know shall stay need to know. I can't control what you're going to do, Commander. Not really. Not with your track record, and not with your penchant of occasionally rogue behavior. However, I would encourage that as far as those two files are concerned, Operation Nightfall, of course, you are privy to. You were a part of it. You are under no obligation, and as well, you are ordered to delete Operation Twin Swords from your personal records.
I can assure you that I will investigate this matter thoroughly. She doesn't specify which matter.
Final point of note, Commander. I understand officially you have level 9 clearance.
I do.
And you have to go through some hoops and ladders to get level 10 clearance or higher. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
I'm gonna cancel out those hoops and ladders for you, Commander, under one particular condition. Whenever you need to access a level 10 file or higher, it does come through me. But you won't have to go through any other channels, just me.
That earns her an eyebrow quirk. But she does cautiously nod in understanding.
Well, I did lie a little bit, Commander. The other point of note. I understand we've had a couple of Section 31 attachés before.
We have.
I do not believe they benefit what you and hopefully I are trying to accomplish, as their goals are somewhat
Different.
different. I would prefer if they are removed from Seoul Atlantic Field office as soon as possible.
I would prefer it as well. Am I being granted permission to accelerate their removal?
By the end of the day.
Delightful.
And, Commander, I'm not under any illusion here. Our first meeting may have gone well, but you're you and I'm me, and I know we're going to be clashing a lot, but hopefully at the end of the day we understand we are still working in the best interest of Starfleet intelligence.
We merely have different methods of getting there.
She looks like she's gonna say something, but stops and then seems to leave it be. Well, that'll be all for now, Commander. I'll be taking my leave from your office. However, unlike previous directors that worked in San Francisco, I will be stationed right here in Madrid alongside you.
I suppose it's a relief that I won't have to worry about any other midnight calls.
that's one way to look at it, Commander.
She's alluding to the time difference between Madrid and.
Oh, yeah. She does stop, like, short of the door. And then turns around. I can't believe I'm asking this. In your assumptions, what did happen during Operation Nightfall? Even if it is
Sabotage.
that your present theory?
Crucial aspect of that mission was changed without authorization. From there, it was a domino to catastrophic failure. It was sabotage.
Thank you, Commander. Your insight is very helpful. And she'll leave. She definitely has more cards in her hand that she can play. She's just not going to.
It's like the moment the door closes behind her, there's just a small sigh of relief because Jolorn picked up on the fact that there were more cards.
Mm-hmm. The one thing, something that you definitely know, throughout that whole conversation, she only ever addressed you by rank. So, kind of interesting choice. Most admirals can still go the extra mile to, address in full. Yeah, but there is no type of insight roll necessary or anything. This is gonna be a very bumpy relationship.
Yeah, it was like the Admiral is clearly wanting to keep a distance between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Lauren, you can see the pros and cons of this. On the pro side, there is a chance that Madrid field office will be a little more efficient, a little less lax. But on the other side of that, that could also maybe, hurt morale. It depends.
Yeah, there's a little more oversight than there was previously. So that can go either way.
Yeah. But you do have a couple of files on your desk right now that you can now look at.
So she moves over to go take a look at what has come in since returning from shore leave.
Mm-hmm.
She takes a quick look through what Kavai has sent, and it's like the pieces that the Admiral hinted at are quickly coming together as far as what she meant by access.
Yeah.
She does also send out a quick message to everyone on her team that there's going to be a meeting, ASAP, like a team meeting ASAP, to go over some highly confidential stuff. But she does not do anything with the file on Operation Twin Swords just yet. She's got... The more she looks at it, the more she gets an inkling that there's something going on here, because she does remember Kavai's message about Pride and Lee. and she knows that if they're trying to get access to stuff, Dominion War time period, there can't be a coincidence that these files were accessed.
No, and in addition to that, like, you don't know the specifics, but as much of a pain in the ass Pride was, and as like particularly like straight laced as Lee was, they don't do things for no reason.
So she's going to hang on to that file and mark it. She's going to make it inaccessible because it's an active investigation. She wants to know more about what lines have been tugged that would bring closer scrutiny to these files in particular. So she's also going to send off a message to the two of them like, hey, let's meet.
Yeah. Lee Jackson's all the way on Bejor right now, so that's a ways. However,
Weren't they giving her a lift?
no, that was someone else. Lee Jackson is doing what you'll kind of get like doing a little digging is doing like follow up, seeing if any like little breadcrumbs are missing.
I think Jalon was talking about me with Pride, who did give Kavai a lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, weren't they the ones that... Yeah.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Brain screw.
Yeah, it's like they were the ones that Kavai hooked up with to get a ride home.
Yes.
Yeah, Pride was the one.
Yes, Pride.
Yeah.
Lee Jackson would have... No, wait. Nope, I'm thinking of someone totally different. My brain's all mushed. Yeah, they would be here. However, they do have an associate. Okay, that's when my brain got all screwed up.
Yeah, and Jalorn would have told Kavai to like strongly hint that Jalorn wants to meet with them.
Yeah,
so it's a message that probably would not come out of the blue. They would have gotten a hint.
Yeah.
Prior.
Aside from those two like operations that are very much classified, there is a data rod. That I don't know, Kavai, would you have given that particular data rod to Jaloran? Your big red button?
No.
Okay.
That one, I'm torn on whether that would go to Leora or if Kavai is just hanging on to that personally, just out of like the I don't want this. So because I don't want it, I'm gonna hang on to it. That way I know where it is, kind of thing. I'm not sure.
All right, I'll keep that in mind then. Finally, the team eventually does get into this meeting room, this conference room for this classified information. We don't have a lot of time left, but Jaloran, what are the like the things you want to go over like really quickly here?
It's probably something that we could open up with next time.
Okay.
Considering a certain hint from a Shikyu.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of it, that's actually how we're gonna leave this scene, as you're kind of going over this, and one of your data pads is picked up, and Q is here kind of thumbing over. You're really not looking into it yet, huh?
It's coming.
Well, this
Certain
is
pieces need to move into place first.
The last piece has moved into place, Commander, and this is where I tell you. At this point, I can do nothing further. You are at a titular moment in Starfleet's history. You and your team determine where the future of Starfleet is headed. Whether it persists, or whether it destroys itself. I will give you no hints and no help. And you can hear the slight drop and sort of plastic type of clinking on metal as the pad is dropped and she is gone. And that eerie type of, it's a feeling, Lauren. It's a really eerie feeling. Everything so far, all your missions, everything that you have done everything right. Everything's gone pretty alright. For whatever reason, this one, there's a pit in your stomach, and you just feel like everything is about to go so horribly wrong. And we would end the session right there, but there is one tiny little thing. That pit in that stomach that you feel is justified, though you do not know it yet. Because over at the sunset of sort of Madrid and the over area, which is Starfleet Academy, Commander Jaloran, though through a view screen or holographic projection, is giving a seminar of such. We, of course, know she is not. In doing this sort of seminar, or speaking, or whatever this Jaloran is doing, outside of that Starfleet Academy, we can hear a rumbling and then a bright flash as a fairly sizable chunk of it does not exist anymore. That is where we are going to end our session tonight.
Well, shit.
This is fine.
Sizable chunk of what?
Piece of the Academy is missing.
Oh, okay.
Like blown
Someone
up?
bit a
Or...
piece of the academy. Oh no.
It's more of
Oh, no.
it's like something expanded and it disappeared, and the stuff that expanded is gone.
Ah, got it.
Fun. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a fun time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know I didn't do it, so we're good.
Yeah.
I love this game, you guys.
But
Yeah, same here.
give me 1 second here. All right. But yes, this is of course Jesus, what is going on here? Why are you doing this? Okay, there we go. But of course, this has been our Star Trek Adventures game. As a reminder, there will be no session next week or the week after that, as we will then jump into our final arc of Season 2. And I kind of hinted at it just now, but final season. We're really gonna test Jaloran's metal, really.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. Of course, as always, simple outing this time. For this game and this evening, we hope we have been a healthy dose of your R&R, and we will see you in 2 weeks.